Welcome to the Youth Pod on YouTube. And today, in this episode, we'll be reviewing the Reading game where we won 3-0. And we'll be profiling Max Dean. He's 16, I think he is, isn't he? And that's just about the extent of my knowledge. So I'll leave most of the talking up to these guys. And we'll be looking ahead to the Norwich game, which is at 2 p.m. on Friday, I believe. Which is another thing that I've learned. I'm learning so much about the under-23s, and so can you, in this podcast. If you would like to hit the subscribe button, even if you're just scrolling down innocently and do it by accident, who's to blame you? And if you want to leave a comment and let us know how you think the under-23s have been going and what you think of Max Dean, that'd be great too. All right, here we go. The following podcast contains some strong language and some very average opinions.
Any references to actual people are wildly inaccurate. It's probably best if you don't listen at all. The Roaring Peacock Podcast.
Welcome back to the Roaring Peacock Youth Pod. My name is Ross. And thanks for joining us. And it's actually Adonis.
I was about to say, Ross, you've got hair.
Ross will be back very soon. But coming up in this youth pod, we'll be looking back at Reading 0, Leeds 3, Reading 0. And we'll be profiling Max Dean, the 16-year-old. Who is making waves for the under-23s, and we'll be looking ahead to the Norwich game on Friday. So that's why we're doing it a little bit early. Welcome, dear listener, and I hope that you're about to enjoy this, because I'm crapping myself. Why did I say crap? Okay. And your youth pod regulars are Matty Ingham. You know him from LUFC Academy Central.
Correct.
Don't be shy, Matty. You're on a podcast. You can say hello.
Hello, thank you for having me again.
Jeez, you're one of us now. We're not having you. You're part of the furniture.
No longer a guest. Signed him up after
it.
last week, didn't we?
I know, yeah. Successful trial.
And the other voice you can hear is Rob, at Juicy Rob.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello. Okay, so let's start off with Leeds 3, Reading 0.
Yeah, it was a good performance. Obviously, the two Scottish lads doing the business in front of goal. I thought it was probably McKinstry's best game of the season. Somerville continues to impress. Obviously, probably the standout performer alongside McKinstry. And yeah, another clean sheet, which didn't get so many of in the first half of the season, but tightening up now. Obviously, got one against Stoke the other week. And obviously added another one against Reading, who I actually thought were a very, very good side. And not that the scoreline flattered Leeds. I mean, they worked hard. They had a lot of pressure and deserved the 3 goals. But I mean, Reading could quite easily score 2 or 3 themselves. Maybe got away with a couple of mistakes. They gave the ball away a lot uncharacteristically, I thought, at the back. Kenner and Creswell, not that they played poorly, just I thought they gave a couple of loose passes away sometimes, and Casilla actually had to have a decent game. Made a couple of good saves.
What?
But,
Yeah.
but he did.
He was safe in possession. He went crazy.
But yeah, a good performance and a good win against, like I say, a good side. What did you think, Rob?
Yeah, same, mate. I get on this microphone every week and I love it because it gives me so much joy to talk about to a man just how good the under-23s are. I mean, he's not under-23, but Kiko was safe in possession. He was, Reading didn't create all that much, but when needed, he was there. But I obviously want to talk about the younger lads, and I know we're going to wax lyrical about Mr. Dean. And in previous weeks, we spoke about the quality that we've got in the under-23s. I thought Drame was outstanding again. I think the only thing that let him down, which actually wasn't necessarily his fault, is where he's been using Costa on the right-hand side to kind of interlink and play well. So having that, he didn't look as much of a threat going forward this week, but his defensive work and his man marking and everything was amazing. Leif Davis, nice to see him get some game time because he's been flirting obviously on the bench with the first 11. So I know he only played the first half, but I thought Leif Davis looked very good. And of course, like you've said as well, the McCarran McKinstry. Wonderful, really good performance. I think to link it and underpin it all together, like I always do each week with some statistics. It was 77% passing accuracy. The discipline lacked a little bit. We created a few fouls, and again, kind of laboured a little bit towards the end of the second half. But I thought 14 shots, 5 on target. Another solid win against a good Reading under-23 side.
So I did watch this game, so I can talk a little bit about it. But for anybody who's new to the under-23s, like me, it was interesting just to kind of learn some of the very basic things. Like they play the same system, for example, as the first team. So it's 4-1-4-1. And just the lineup was, the Mad Cat from Spain in goal, and then Davis on the left, Casey and Creswell in the middle. They're the two centre backs. That's the pairing that's line up almost every game. And then Drame on the right, and then Kenner, Noah Kenner, is that correct? He plays the kind of Calvin Phillips role, number 4. And then you've got Somerville, Jenkins, McKinstry, McCarran, and Gelhardt up front.
Yeah, it does interchange. We sometimes have, you'll see when Greenwood's playing, obviously it drops, McKinstry or Jenkins will drop, or if he's rotating, some first 11 benches, Poveda, Costa, etc. But for all intents and purposes, the system is mirrored, and we do refer to that often from the 18s to the 23s to the first 11. It is a philosophical thing within the club from the youth all the way up that's the style of Bielsa ball is the way we play. And you can interlink those pawns. I think we've name dropped pretty much all of the 18s and 23s over the past 6 weeks into different positions where they've slotted in. And I think Jackson's got it working well for his under 23s. He's able to drop people in and pull people out, which is not always easy in football, as we know. He can interchange those players, multi-positional players with great depth, and majority of them will play in more than one position, which we know Bielsa likes. And for me, I think it's again just shows with interlinking that those players interchanging as well. It doesn't phase them. It's not just the system; it's the actual man-to-man. Look at Somerville again with his assists. He swapped over to the left in previous weeks where we've had Costa on the right in 23s. So they must be getting enjoying their football by getting this education around multi-positional play, and I think that shows.
Yeah, definitely. It just adds so much when players can flit in and out of different positions, and even within 90 minutes, McKinstry was roaming about almost everywhere. Popping up on the left, on the right. Gelhardt obviously can drop in, and then at times McCarran might have gone central, or McKinstry might have been the furthest man forward. Davis was obviously bombing on constantly. I thought Davis was phenomenal, to be honest. He's so quick, getting on the outside of McCarran, who was in front of him this week. And yeah, they blitzed Reading in the first half for definitely at least like 20 minutes towards the end of the first half, and obviously got the goals within the last 5 minutes of the first half to go 2-0 up, and it kind of just put the game to bed right before half time. I'm sure Reading, although they had a couple of chances, a couple of breaks and a couple of shots, but they would have probably been happy and lucky to go in at 0-0 at half time. But those 2 goals just killed them off really, and then obviously got the third. It was a comical error from the keeper. Actually, something we might have become accustomed to with the goalkeepers at the other end. But yeah, he pounced upon it, punished Reading, and made it 3-0. And that obviously never looked back. Really, was in control. Like you touched on, Rob, a little bit. Don't want to say complacent. I don't think they sat off it, but a couple of errors, let's say, in the last 10 minutes or so, and Reading had a couple of chances where Kiko proved he can be a decent keeper sometimes. So yeah, obviously a good win overall.
I've seen a couple of under-23s games this season, and it was like every game that I've seen of them, they've been totally dominant. And I felt with Reading, they were in the ascendancy. They were the protagonist, I think Bielsa would say, for the majority of that second half, and for spells early on in the first half. In that first half, there was this mad minute where we scored 2 goals so quick. I mean, I just remember kind of like, I think I was thinking about going to get a tea. I was like, oh yeah, we scored. Maybe I should go get a tea or not. Or what do I have to do? And then I looked up and we scored again. Oh, we've scored again.
But
I think that was my reaction.
Yeah, that's a feature though that we've spoke about on this pod. That is a feature of the under-23s. They get going straight away. There's no complacency after scoring. It is quick fire. They want to press forward, almost like, again, with Cookie mentioned it last week, and I know me and Ross have discussed it on one of the first pods we did, and it was around. There seems to be this, since the clean sheets and since the Christmas period have started rolling and the wins are coming in thick and fast with big margins, we tend to put teams to bed in the first half. And then in the second half, we don't set off, but we see the games out. And it's nice to, although sometimes a bit nail biting, it is nice to know that by half time, Jackson can make these changes, swap the players around positionally, bring some of the under-18s in where we've got some of the 23 stepping up to the first 11 bench. And we tend to not lose it. Okay, against Borough the week before, we conceded 2 goals, but this week, second half, clean sheet. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
But what I was getting at was that, like, it seemed like we kind of pounced on their mistakes at the back in this game rather than dominated possession and created loads of chances. And I think that's a good sign as well. It's just like being very, very clinical and punishing teams for their mistakes.
Yeah, it's patience as well, not just forcing it. And I mean, they've just got it spot on. Really, that's all you can say. They didn't force it. Like it wasn't like we got to 5 minutes before half time and thought, we need a goal before half time, because obviously that wasn't the case. You got the full second half, but you can sometimes see some teams panic at the end of a half. If you've been dominating or been on top, like I say, Reading had spells in the game, but I think overall Leeds were definitely on top. And it wouldn't be uncommon, especially with a young team, to go, we need to score before half time. But they were relaxed. They just pounced on the mistakes, and then I think after they got the first one, they obviously kind of smelt blood, and the press was fantastic for the second goal. It was Davis just read the play. Pushed into almost a midfield role to nick the ball, and then McKinstry got a bit of a lucky bounce off Gellhart, but it was a great finish. Yeah, I mean, just like smelling blood, just being patient, just completely reading the game and managing the game perfectly, and then, like I said before, just straight after half time, killing the game off, and then that was kind of it. Reading were never really getting back into it from 3-0 down.
And a goal of the season contender for the third.
I mean, the Drame-Somerville connection on the
right. That
was
a joke, Rob.
I know. That's why I said yes. Could you not see the sarcasm? I thought Gellhart was unlucky not to get the penalty. But I think that on the right-hand side, the Somerville Drame connection, just, for me, it works so well. Like, I know he tried him on the other wing, and he can play well there when Costa's in, or Poveda before his injury. But I think Somerville on the right works better. We spoke about his ambidextrous foot ability and his ability to switch play with either foot. But I think Drame-Somerville is a good combination. We get the benefit of the pace, the benefit of Drame's defensive work. Not only is moving down the wing a la Ayling, but Somerville's quality is really shining through lately, as we spoke about. And I think that right-hand side pairing will put any of these under-23s in Division 2.
So 3-0, 10 points clear. The Whites go marching on, and this youth pod goes marching on to the player profile. A player who came off the bench and replaced Gellhart, who you were just talking about. So full of segues. I'm just trying to cram in as many segues as possible. So, Matty, I believe you are informing us this week of a certain Max Dean.
I am, yeah, in Cookie's absence, but he did pass on some notes to me that I've just added to. So, kind of his basic stats, like his basic profile. He's 16, he turns 17 in just 4 days' time. Signed him from Everton on a 2-year scholarship where he was their top scorer in his age group in 2018-19. His stats for Leeds this season are actually really impressive. So in the Under-17s Cup, he got 5 goals in 3 games. In the Under-17s Premier League, where I think they've found the step up to Category 1 and the new teams that they're facing, because there's only one division. It's not like the PL2 for the 23s. There's obviously 2 divisions. There's just one division, and so they're playing the likes of Liverpool, all the top teams, and they found the step up a little bit tough, I think. But he's still got 1 goal and 1 assist in 7 games. And then in the under-23s is where he's really shone, and obviously that form is what has got us talking about him today. He's played 5 games in the PL2. He's got 3 goals and 1 assist. And then for the under-21 team that was in the EFL Trophy, he got 2 goals against Barrow. He's a versatile forward. He can play all across the front 3, so whether that be from the 2 wide positions or as the main striker, which is where I believe he was playing when he came on for Gelhardt. He's a hard-working forward, obviously, which is demanded at Leeds, and the press so that hard work will be appreciated. He's pretty strong for his age, and like I say, he just chases everything down, and then kind of his technical ability on the ball. He seems to have a great goal-scoring instinct. He gets into good areas, even when he's playing out wide. You look at the goal he scored against Middlesbrough. The ball's on the left-hand side. He's coming in off the right flank, gets himself into the middle of the box, and he has a simple finish from the middle of the goal. And then he's got good composure and technique as well. He scores different types of goals. He can smash it in. He can smash it with both feet. He can place it. And like I say, just that ability to get into goal-scoring positions is pretty impressive for someone so young to be able to read the game like that. I actually didn't know he was 16 until I started doing this research. I thought he must have been at least 17. I know he's nearly 17, but he just looks quite strong. He looks strong for his age. He's built quite well. He's quick, and he just seems to understand the game really well. So obviously, yeah, he's been really, really impressive. And this is not so much a technical quality, but I've just noticed, and I love how he celebrates every single goal. He sprints off to the corner and does like a big knee slide, and I just love that. He looks passionate. He looks hungry. And he looks to be relishing every chance he gets in the 23s at the minute. Obviously, primarily played in the 18s, but he's been getting chances in the 23s. And when he has done, obviously, with the stats, just 5 games and 3 goals, is pretty impressive. So, yeah, that's kind of the reason we're talking about him today, because he just obviously took that step up so well, hasn't he, Rob?
Yeah, as we need to keep him. We need to keep hold of him. We need to develop him, and that production line of centre forwards and 9s and 10s is looking very strong. We've obviously Gelhardt, Greenwood, and then Dean. I think, it's impressive that he's performing. It appears on paper to be performing much better in the 23s than the 18s. We know why. You've covered it there, Matty. I think you're spot on there. The 18s have found the step up a bit difficult, and rightly so, because the 23s are performing so well. The 23s are getting the plaudits. But make no mistake about it, this young man is a very talented forward and a very talented footballer. And I feel old being able to say young man when I'm only in my mid-30s. That is concerning, and I am not jealous in any way of how good a 16-year-old can run rings around me on a football pitch. But he's one to watch and very good. I hope we wrap him in cotton wool a bit, give him the exposure he needs. Don't force it too quickly. Keep him in the youth setup, give him that academy experience, and no doubt we'll be waxing lyrical about him for many years to come. Just seems like most of the young players we've got at the minute, a sensible chap with a good head on his shoulders, grounded.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've just said that about wrapping him in cotton wool, and we mentioned this last week about getting the balance between exposing them to, the fans and the expectation, but not not sort of heaping it upon him. And we're not talking about Dean today as someone who's like we were about Huggins or like we did about like you did about Gelhardt. You're not talking about him as someone who's get him in the first team now, get him on the bench, because he's 16 years old. He's obviously got a lot to learn. But you do have to notice the ability, and you do have to mention the fact that he's doing really well in the 23s, and you just hope that he keeps going. I think he's obviously got a good head on his shoulders. He made the switch from Everton to Leeds after he'd been at Everton for I think 7 years. So he obviously recognises the opportunity, which suggests he's got a good head on his shoulders. Mark Jackson's a good coach who's been there himself, so I'm sure he'll be managed well, and let's just hope he can keep progressing, because we've got 2 or 3 years in this 23 team now.
Yeah, we need him to score an hat-trick this weekend. We're playing his old team. It's under 18s have got Everton at home, haven't they, this weekend? Let's hope
that
he
would be nice.
Do one over on Everton.
I think he'll probably play for the 23s on Friday, won't he? So maybe it won't even be the 18s will play on Saturday, won't they?
It's Saturday 1 o'clock. If anyone's
so he might not be involved against his former team, but hopefully can do the business on Friday.
Some good news about the 23s forwards, whilst we're on that topic, is Greenwood appears to be back in training. I agree with you, Matty. I don't think he's going to take part on Friday against Norwich, but I think it will be a Gelhardt-Dean combination or switch. But good to see Greenwood back on a pitch already in training.
Okay, so Max Dean, tall, short, stocky, quick, powerful. What kind of, like, can you paint me an image of? Is he a brutish? Is he thick? Is he buff? Is he going to destroy defenders?
Kind of a similar build to Gelhardt, I would say. Probably not as stocky, but a similar height. He's probably quicker than Gelhardt. If we're just comparing the two, he's quick, but he's pretty strong for his age, and he's tenacious. He doesn't hold back. He puts tackles in. He chases down. But not built like a fridge. He's only 16, so
brick shithouse is the phrase, isn't it?
I was going to say brick shithouse, but I just thought I'd let you take it.
Has he got hunger? Has he got fire in his eyes?
Of course, he
has. He's a goal scorer. He is, yeah.
He's doing well. Really good lad. Goal scoring. He's 16 years old, and we can't underestimate just how. His footballing IQ, which I hope if he does listen to this, he doesn't mind me saying, his footballing IQ is good, but it will need to improve his reading of the game, and the physicality will have to, develop as he develops. He's a 16-year-old chap. So when he gets older, he'll be a bit more physical around the box. But right now, with the type of football we're playing, he's not having to show that physicality and shielding of the ball as much. And he's gifted in, like you said earlier, Matty, the types of goal he's scoring. He's not just a one-trick pony. He seems to be, whipping them in from distance, simple tap-ins, taking on one-on-ones, comfortable cutting in from the right and left. And a good all-round finisher for his age, definitely.
He's composed in front of the goal. The goal against Barrow in the AFL Trophy, it actually all comes from his hard work. He chases the ball down. It kind of deflects back towards the keeper, and he gets there first, takes it round the keeper. You think he's just going to slot it in with his left foot, and he just dummies it back, and there's a player on the line, and he just absolutely just leathers it in. It's like he's past the keeper, but there's a man on the line, and he just smashes it in, into the goal. He's composed, and he's got a bullet of a right foot on him, to be fair. He can smash it.
Does he remind you of any players of the past in particular that would help our listeners to reference this new young wonderkind?
I got abused last time I compared a player to a player of the past, because people were like, no, we don't see that. But I think his finishing ability, if developed correctly, he would be a stronger finisher potentially in the future as someone like Robbie Fowler. With his ability to slot in a ball around a keeper from any sort of area within that 18-yard box and just outside. So I think his technical ability with his finishing can be that good in the future.
Hang on a minute. You got abuse? What happened here?
Previously. Well, it was of a comparison I made about the ability of Crescencio Somerville to switch play, just like in his prime, Sean Wright-Phillips. And I was battered for it.
I can
John
see
Wright-
that. I can see that.
Thank you very much, Matty. I got abused for that last time.
The way he moves and his
Correct.
control, I actually can really see the Sean Wright Phillips comparison.
Thank you. You're the
You
first
made me
person.
not want to make my comparison now after you said you got abused, but I think Dean reminds me. This is just off the top of my head. He reminds me a little bit of Ross McCormack. The way he's built. He's pretty. I mean, I think McCormack was pretty quick. It probably wasn't his standout feature, but he's still pretty quick. And the way he strikes it, I think, is very similar. McCormack used to love putting his foot through the ball, like the way he used to properly lace it and smash it. And I think I've seen Dean do that on a couple of occasions. I can see the McCormack one now, but if you think that's going to get me abuse, then edit it out.
You'll be fine with that one, mate. It was. I came in out of left wing, right wing. If I'm Somerville at the minute on, I came in out of right wing. The way he moves, I think he reminded me of a Sean Wright Phillips with his ability to switch play from positional and balance.
I've consistently compared Joffy to Messi, or I called him the Mersey Messi, and
I saw that actually.
And Greenwood to Cristiano Ronaldo, and I've consistently been saying this is the answer to what would happen if Ronaldo and Messi played with each other, and nobody has given me a shred of abuse.
That's because you're a top tier pundit, Donny. You know, we're second rate. That's why you see we're getting the second rate level abuse. Top tier. You're the Alan Shearer of the group, so no one's going to give you
untouchable.
If they turn out to be spot on, and we have a little Messi and a little Ronaldo on our hands, then I won't mind that.
Certainly would be interesting, wouldn't it?
So one last thing on Max Dean then. When I was young, there was a 16-year-old who he just made his debut. We didn't go to away games, but I trundled off to Ellen Road with my mum, as I used to, and watched a game, Leeds versus Chelsea. And on came this young 16-year-old and scored against Chelsea. And, of course, it was Milner. And so Max Dean's 16. I'm putting 2 and 2 together. Is Max Dean going to get a debut against Chelsea, or his home debut against Chelsea in a few weeks and score?
I would love that, but I think it might be pushing it. Like we said, this is someone who's going to be in the 23s hopefully for a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
We were talking about not putting pressure on players.
I know. Donny's throwing him in against Chelsea.
Messi and Ronaldo comparisons.
So, to the Under 23 podcast regular listeners, Adonis comes in. We try and keep it calm and level-headed on this pod, and he goes, "Tell you what, Max Dean starting against Chelsea, hat trick."
And sky's
the limit.
I've come in like a wrecking ball and trounced on all your traditions right here. So that's Max Dean. I'm very excited already about young Max Dean. Okay, now let's move on then to the match preview. Norwich, 2 p.m. on Friday, and I've been doing a little bit of research, and they are not doing very well, are they? They're 10th. They've lost 8 games.
It's short and sweet on me for this one. I can't see anything but a Leeds win. I have been quite restrained with my score predictions the past few weeks because we had the ability to drop a goal in the second half, but I think we might run out 3 or 4-0 winners. I don't think they've got anything that worries or concerns us. The only caveat to that is something that me and Matty were discussing with the strange situation of the 23s and the first 11s playing on the same day on Friday. Potentially we might see a very young 23s with a lot of our normal 23s replacing the injured players on the bench of the first 11, which has happened, but it's increasing in number with the more injuries we pick up in the first 11. So if we play a more youthful, like under 18s as 23s, potentially we might only win by 1 or 2. But if we play our proper 23s, I think we'll probably walk out comfortable winners.
Yeah, they're on a terrible run. I'm just looking at it here. No win in the last 7. So they're on a pretty poor run. 2-0 to Leeds in the reverse fixture was at our first sight of Rafinha. And I think Poveda scored the goal. That is actually the one game in the season that I've missed. I didn't watch that game. I was working. So Yeah, I can't really tell you too much about Norwich, but that was a reverse fixture. That's the form. They're obviously on a shocking run. But yeah, like Rob said about the teams playing on the same day, maybe we won't see the strongest 23s team, but the man we mentioned, Max Dean, should be involved in a couple of the 18s lads that have stepped up at times. Maybe Mullen players who have been very impressive at centre back. But yeah, I mean, like Rob said, I can't see anything but a Leeds win with the form we're on and the form they're on. Completely contrasting. Don't want to jinx it, but you can't really see anything but a Leeds win.
Can you imagine if you were a young Norwich player and Rafinha was stepping up onto the pitch? Never mind pink changing room, it'd be brown shorts time. We might get a chance to see Rodrigo, maybe? For sure?
It's a bit early for them, isn't it? I think
too soon.
Yeah, I think actually...
Sure.
Yes, for sure. It's too soon. Way too soon.
Sure.
I think actually, unfortunately, I can't see Rodrigo, Llorente, Poveda, or Greenwood playing on Friday. I think they're all. It's nice to see some of them on grass again with boots on, but I think they're away from the competitive side just for another couple of weeks for some of them.
Yeah. I think today's Greenwood's first day back in training. Yeah. So we're talking about in 2 days' time. He's not going to be back on the pitch, is he?
I'd be surprised.
Well, yeah, I would be surprised. And I don't think they'll risk Rodrigo. Probably the next 23's game, Rodrigo will be involved. I don't know what the case is with Llorente. Nobody knows what the case is with Forshaw. And I also think it'll be too soon for Poveda as well. So yeah, we probably won't have the strongest team that we've seen, but hopefully we can still do the
Actually, this is a good point because the 18s are on Saturday against Everton, as I've mentioned. 23s are on Friday lunch, and obviously the first 11 is Friday night. So he's going to have to balance that. Either you're going to see the 18s I think the 18s will step up to the 23s, as we spoke about, and then the 18s will be potentially a severely weakened team.
Yeah.
Or because the 23s are so far in front, maybe he experiments a bit. And we see a bit of something there, but obviously the 23s are at Norwich and we're over in Wolverhampton, so it's I don't think we'll see any crossover as squad.
Yeah, you might be right. Actually, it's a good point about the 23s obviously flying. Whether he takes that as the team that maybe suffers the most from how he wants to balance all the teams.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, it's 3 wins all round.
Yeah. Good weekend.
Nice one. Well, the under-18s can't get relegated. Am I right in saying that? You mentioned it before that there was only one league, or is that the under-17s?
No, that is the 18s. I'm guessing they can't get relegated.
I think it is. It's one development division for that age group, isn't it? So
yeah, well, it doesn't matter then. I think the most important thing is getting into that Premier League 2 Division 1, isn't it? I think that's got to be the main aim, and just until it's mathematically secure, then I wouldn't worry about it. Just get it done, get the job done, boys. Right. Well, that was a very lovely experience. Caretaking for Ross. I tried to sort of say as little as possible and not as much. That's what I've observed. It seems to be his style.
All nods, aren't we?
So hope you've enjoyed that, and hopefully Ross will be back next week. So that was your youth pod. If you liked it, why not click subscribe? Why not give us a comment? Why not get in touch on Twitter at Peacocks Raw and let us know what you thought of it? You can tag us in a tweet and just say, guys, you're doing an absolutely terrible job. I could do a better podcast. In fact, there's not enough Leeds podcasts. I'm going to make one too. Just tag us in that. I would personally love that. It would make me laugh. Okay. My name's Adonis. You can find me on the Adelites on Twitter. It's a very goodbye from me. And it was at Juicy Rob who was you were listening to. So very goodbye from him.
Goodbye all.
And Matty, where can people find your stuff?
At Matty_Ingham17 and at LUFC Academy News.
Right. And
Thank you for having me on again, lads.
It's LUFC Academy Central.com. Right,
That's
there
right,
you go. So Along with the roaringpeacock.com, which hasn't been updated for a while because I've been busy. You might as well go to Matty's website because it's updated more frequently.
Browse Matty's website whilst listening to us.
Right, yes, do that. Excellent. Thank you very much. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye. Come on, Leeds. Most of our stats come from LUFC Stats or LUFC Data on Twitter. A very special thanks to Barney Stewart Cook, Ewan and Howard Metcalf, Josh Pearson, Laura, Leon and Rob, The Light Show, and all our family and friends.